for a CDN, I think what we really need to do is to start decoupling the edge CDN part of delivery from the platform piece, right? Because you cannot build a stack optimized for a use case and then force another application to use that same optimized stack. So I think it's a mindset of decoupling CDN as an application from the underlying infrastructure. And remember, I'm not talking about optimizing just bit delivery. I'm talking about if CDN is going to survive in capturing these new revenue streams that are coming out there, whether it's IoT or edge cloud or whatever we call them. You need to have a fundamentally different mindset in terms of how you view your CDN solution and application. I mean, you still need, from the edge delivery side, a global deep footprint inside an operator's network. It can't be in a neutral facility. But you also need to have an underlying platform that has all the characteristics of automation, self-provisioning, and be able to support a multiple of different applications. Another statement I would like to make is, if you think about compute at the edge, right? We talk about having just 4 data centers in North America is probably enough for media delivery, right? I mean, you'll probably get down to 30 milliseconds, 35 milliseconds downstream bit delivery by having 4 major data centers with the right peering relationships in US, which has a fairly developed infrastructure from coast to coast. But if you think about when we talk about sub 10 millisecond and the distribution you need and the footprint you need at a global scale, deep in operator's network, it doesn't only become financially impractical, but also becomes just time-wise impractical to build that out yourself, right? I mean, if you're going to build out thousands of small compute pops across the globe with GPUs, TPUs, what have you, in order to support the new workloads, what would that cost? I mean, I know there are companies out there that financially have the muscles to do it, but just the time it would take to do it, right? So the way that I see, the only way to really be successful in this new ecosystem with these new requirements is through partnerships. And remember early on in the presentation, I talked about the imperfect value chain, right? And the broken ecosystem of where service providers were not included in the delivery chain. I think in the US, it's probably one of the countries where it's better than others. But if you think about it from a global perspective as well, if you do not incentivize the service provider through partnership to participate in the delivery chain, why would they help you to optimize the delivery of the end user? And from an application developer perspective, the service provider network and the last mile network has really been a black box. You don't really know what's going on in it. You don't really have access to the service providers. Because being Ericsson, we love the service providers, but they're very big, so it's hard to find the right person. So it's just been sort of a CDN has been a guy in the middle, sort of shielding both sides from each other and optimizing for itself. But in the new, I think, and that has worked for CDN because of the peering relationship. But as we move into the new era of CDN, or edge cloud, or edge computing, or whatever we'll call it, it will require a completely new type of collaborative approach.